Oh, I meant to brush my teeth. Sorry. Is it?
I can't smell your breath from here.
Well, I had a bub sub, and I wish there were like metrics for.
So many onions.
Well, I wish there were metrics for like what each person, like I want to be like, what do you think a lot is? Like I wish all food stuff was a 1 to 5 scale. Okay. You know, because
were you like a lot of onions, please? Yeah. Okay.
Well, because even that they're afraid. Like sometimes they're like 3 onions, and I'm like, this is a fucking footlong hoagie. Give me onions. I like onions. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, and like it's the same with mayonnaise. Like it's like they're running out. I like a decent amount of mayonnaise, but I don't want it like I don't want to bite into it and have the sandwich like shoot out the bread. Of course. But it's like, even when I'm like extra or like blah, blah, blah. So a lot of times I'll be like extra mayo and extra onions and olives. And usually it's like just right. But this time it was like
too many.
Well, it was like in those tasty videos where they like hover the onion and they snap, and it just like it was like just, and it was like the chunks, like chips of onion, and it was a particularly spicy onion. So I was like
lots of onion.
It was actually pretty good, but I'm sitting here now like.
See, I sometimes order onions on a sandwich and then take them off. So I just have the
slight flavor
of onions.
That's a thing. Because it's the same with me with the green peppers, because they give me really bad indigestion, but I don't mind the flavor. So it's like with pizza, I'll pick them off, and I like the little bit of green
pepper flavor.
It just tastes green. Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your twice weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. On today's episode... I was looking, why are we clapping?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
I hope I'm excited, like not alone. I'm not alone in my excitement.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about the 1987...
Yeah. Yes.
Comedy, horror, fantasy, drama film, The Witches of Eastwick. But before we get into that, I did want to do a little pitch and say that we have just recently launched on YouTube. So hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're listening to this, head over to YouTube if you would like to watch us.
Yes. There's a link on our website, soimwatching.com. It'll take you right to our channel.
Everything links out from the website. I agree with you. I've found that has been the most concise, and it's just soimwatching.com.
It's the easiest thing to say. Go to soimwatching.com. You can click on whatever you want to click on.
And on that note, I also wanted to plug the Patreon because it is the reason why we can do this.
That's correct. Everything you see,
all the light touches
was purchased by our lovely patrons.
So much of this was not.
Well, I mean, the bookshelves,
the equipment,
that thing, this thing, the cameras we're looking into.
But business has always made me extremely uncomfortable, and so I'm trying to break that. And so I'm trying...
I'll be vulgar for the both of us.
We need money.
Give us your money,
Give us your money.
Give us your money.
I'm poor.
Help me, I'm poor.
No, we love our patrons dearly. And
there should be credits at the end of every episode that say who they are as a thank you.
And I felt awkward. There was a part of me that I was like, I don't want to be gauche discussing, like bragging. And finally a couple people were like, no, you should thank the people who are going out of their way for this. So thank you to all of our patrons, and anything and everything helps. And it's how we're able to do what we're trying to do.
And we keep making noise about it, and eventually we're going to actually do it. But we're revamping it, so there'll be new tiers and new rewards and stuff. So just, if you already are a patron, keep your eye out. If you want to become a patron, keep your eye out. We're always talking about it on Twitter. So
and also we are trying to build. We are in the business of building. So any rates, reviews, and subscribes help.
Especially on the YouTube.
The YouTube and the podcast app.
Yeah. Podcast Republic.
Yeah, we could use a couple of... It just, the more ratings and reviews you have, it pushes you up into the algorithms, so it makes it easier for...
And thank you again to everybody, because we put out kind of a call to arms last week, and we have 103 followers or subscribers on YouTube right now, and we launched not even 2 weeks ago, so we're pretty pumped about that, for sure. And thank everybody for listening to episode 5 of our Bly Manor coverage. It's doing gangbusters.
I came in and said to Will, I was like, did you get in on some of that sweet episode 5 coverage? I was like, it's the episode that really kind of took off. So
that's true. Well, and he said it was probably the first one that like confused people. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, okay.
And even the picture though.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We plan on trying to cover a couple more shows that way episodically and stuff. So
some old stuff probably. So it's going to be infrequent, the new things that we do like that, probably just as things come out.
So on that note, we can move on to the Witches of Eastwick.
In the quiet town of Eastwick, where nothing ever changes, 3 beautiful women are about to discover powers they never dreamed they had.
Who should we be looking for?
He should be really handsome.
Nice eyes.
Now, the man of their dreams is here.
Jane, at last we meet.
To stay for a spell.
Who are you?
Just your average, horny little devil.
With the Witches of Eastwick.
We could do things you haven't any idea.
You know what's going on up in that house? She says she sees the devil here in Eastwick. If you were the devil, would you come to Eastwick?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you going to seduce me too?
Women, a mistake? Or did he do it to us on purpose?
Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer. The Witches of Eastwick.
Hocus pocus.
I like putting the little trailer.
The Witches.
I like the little. When especially when it's like 80s.
Yeah,
janky.
The 80s ones are always good.
Witches of Eastwick. You were extremely excited about this one.
Yes.
Why? What is there a backstory?
Well, no, this is, I think, another one of those movies that I just like caught on TV
when you were younger?
When I was young.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just really responded to all of it. And so I watched it so much when I was young.
Really?
So much. And I love it. I have always loved this movie, like from minute one. Mm-hmm. I think a little bit. So I don't know exactly how old I was, but I know that I was too young for this movie.
Sure. It's the kind of thing that I think actually does edit for TV well. There's not really any nudity, and the like violent. I mean, at this point, they play Sleepy Hollow at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
True.
So
it's not even like
violence doesn't matter on TV,
but it's also not even like violent. Mm-hmm. It's like it's very cartoonish. I will also say it's been years and years now, but I have read the novel by John Updike.
I wanted to talk about that.
It is different.
Well, isn't it just like the first part of the novel? I read that.
So it stays consistent with the novel until they start having the affair.
Okay.
And then the rest of the novel is far different.
Well, I didn't do like a lot of reading, but I was looking something up and I read that apparently John Updike's views of women are that leave something to be desired. Yeah. So I don't really remember a lot of it. I remember still responding a lot to Alexandra, the Cher character, while I was reading it, because it starts out very much from her perspective, but I don't. When did you read it?
I maybe right when I moved here.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
Was it when the show came on?
Maybe.
I want to watch the show. Is it somewhere? Was it good?
I liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Rebecca Romijn, which, I mean, I love Rebecca Romijn, huge fan, but she belongs on TV.
Yeah. So it was Rebecca Romijn and what's her name? Lindsay Price. And our girlfriend. Oh, hell. What's her name?
Academy Award winning Jamie Ray Newman.
And Jamie Ray Newman's husband was John Bernthal.
Oh.
Yeah. Huh. So Jamie Ray Newman was the Michelle Pfeiffer character. Mm-hmm. So they had like a gaggle of little redheaded children. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to watch it, so I'm going to see if I can find it somewhere. Is it the kind of thing that like ended on a cliffhanger or something?
I don't really remember. I feel like I didn't finish watching it because I could tell it was going to get canceled. It was like a really early CW show, and I was like, or a really late
I think it was
WB
ABC.
show. Maybe.
Regardless.
Either way, I could like see the writing on the wall that it was going to get canceled. And so I just was like, well, But I really, really liked, and Veronica Cartwright is in it. She's like the witchy lady that lives in the town that's like all woo woo.
Yeah. Woo woo. Okay.
She's not like this. She doesn't start talking about anal penetration in the show.
So many talking points. Okay. No, that I was just gonna say that's the kind of thing that I think would thrive off of. This really weird niche.
Yeah.
Like we dreamed to do an entire series of like brilliant but canceled, which is shows that went 1 or 2 seasons.
I was telling my coworker Andrea the other day about she asked me about Emily in Paris, and I was like, oh, it's this guy named Darren Star, and he did Sex and the City. And I was like, he did all of these great things. And I was like, he did this hilarious show called Grosse Pointe. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what's that about? And I was like, so hard pressed to like explain all of the like, it's a show about a show.
It's about actors on the set of a teen soap opera in the year 2000.
Yeah. It's so good.
And I knew all each one had 3 names.
So you have it over here,
it's right.
you? It was.
Oh, it's behind me.
Oh. There you go.
With Kitchen Confidential, GCB, and Suburgatory. So
yeah, so 3 of us shows.
Brilliant but canceled. Okay. This is a weird fucking movie. I did like it. I was like,
good weird or too weird?
I did decide I liked it, but it was nowhere in the realm of what I thought it was going to be.
Is this one of those moments where you got a weird glimpse into me as a person?
No.
Okay.
I think I was aware. I think I was firmly like it made sense.
Okay.
But it was the kind of thing where I was just watching it and I was just kind of like, oh, do they not know they're witches? And then it just like it wasn't following the story structure that I was anticipating from it.
Okay.
And there was a thing it was doing that in the moment, I've only watched it the one time. I just finished it 30 minutes ago. So my opinions could evolve. But it did annoy me a little bit. They were doing that thing where they were talking around the plot so much.
Okay.
And I was like, why are they not saying the thing? Like, why?
So I think this movie is old enough that wasn't like a thing that most people wanted, where because we are very much like, say the thing, say that you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
Just say the thing. And they are like, we made things happen. And I'm just like, you're a witch. You're just a witch.
They're like, what do you want? And he's like, you know what I want. It's like that scene in Teen Wolf where he's talking to the guidance counselor. Yeah, and they're just like, it's so cryptic until you realize.
Yeah.
Well, it's Scott, but it's just so incredibly cryptic. And there was a part of me that was just like, I don't like, this could have been more efficient if it was like, you're the devil and you're sucking this town into hell. Like, but they just wouldn't say that.
Part of it is that you have to like, they're discovering it as we discover it.
Yeah, but they still were not. It's fine. It just was. It was in particular the scene when Alex goes back to. I'm mostly probably going to use the actors' names. That's Jack Nicholson. He was also
Daryl.
He was a very baffling choice for me because I'm just like, Jack Nicholson is great, but I was like, in what reality is he seducing these 3 women in their prime?
Well, that's the point of like the thing that the like little spell that they do at the beginning where they're like, I don't even care if he's handsome. He just has to have something about him. And you cannot argue that Jack Nicholson is not a magnetic personality.
So the scene with Cher towards the beginning when he's like on the bed and stuff.
And she just reads him for filth.
Yeah, but even before that, I was watching this movie by myself and I was like,
do it just to find out.
Just so I could leave. You know what I mean? I would be like...
just so I can be like, okay, so there's like a period at the end of the sentence, and you can just be like, well, that's it. I'm leaving. But
then when you do add into the Jack Nicholson, it's like, I mean, I'd fuck Jack Nicholson just for the story.
Sure.
Like, I'd do it now.
I mean... I'd prefer Jack Nicholson from like Terms of Endearment.
Sure, but I was just... There's a point where I'm like, I'm in a mansion. It's the Borgia's bed. Like... That alone, I'd be like, eh.
It's sort of fine if his creepy valet just stands in the corner. You're like, I guess.
At that point, he can join in. It's literally noon. Like
it's noon. It is like high noon.
I was just sort of like
full daylight.
There was no atmosphere. I was like, and that's sort of what I mean. Where I was like, the whole thing was really odd.
Yeah. Well, it gets a little more atmospheric later. Like he gets into like some proper seduction after that first time with Alex. But I think she's such a blunt type of character anyway, that it makes sense that he went that direction for her. Like, he really approaches all three of them the way they need to be approached.
Her seduction was really funny. Like him trying to seduce her with the whole like, isn't it a little late in the season? And he was like, for lunch. And she was like,
pissing on birds. Yeah, because he's like, have you seen any snowy egrets around here?
But that splay, like the tent and like all of that, I mean, it would have worked. What the fuck was that house? Like, is that a real house?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I just like this movie. Oh yeah, it's real. Castle Hill on the...
It looks like Caserta. That fucking, when you walk in, I love walking into the ballroom. And also, it was way smuttier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
And I liked that, and actually kind of wish more. Once again, I think this one is like prime for a remake.
Like legit remake. I was thinking that while I was watching it too, and I was like, that would be pretty cool if we like got another one.
More.
Yeah, because
of everything. Because
I will say, I think you're not gonna like the TV show because it's very a TV show. Mm-hmm. It's like very, very TV show. Mm-hmm. It's not more, is what I'm saying. It's not more than the movie. It's like somehow even less, but yeah.
Because like when you get to it, like the witchy stuff, because again with like say the thing, it's like they're flying and they never really have a discussion about that. Yeah. And it's not that I think that they needed to diagram or dissect what had happened, but it's like, because you kind of are at that point, at least you're kind of under the impression that they're under a spell.
Potentially. Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know. It like I said, I think this is prime for remake, and I think more. I think funnier, raunchier, scarier, like all three.
Baz Luhrmann's The Witches of Eastwick. I knew I'd get you at that one.
I need a minute.
It would be so good. Elizabeth Debicki.
Well, because I started fan casting, and I was like trying to think of things, because I was like, I don't know who Jack Nicholson would be. I would really be resisting the urge to go like Jake Gyllenhaal or Bradley Cooper.
I'll tell you, in the show, it's a way handsomer guy, like a younger, handsomer guy.
But I thought if they wanted to do something similar to Jack Nicholson, and this goes perfectly with Baz Luhrmann, is if Leonardo DiCaprio gained like 30 pounds, you could really get like a...
Yeah.
And he would still have like the charm and stuff, but I couldn't figure out what to do with Cher, because the best I could come up with was like Lady Gaga, but it's like she's not quite old enough, and she...
Well, that brings me into something, which is that George Miller, who directed this, Mad Max.
Oh!
Yeah. And Babe. He apparently called Cher and was like, I don't want you in my movie, and I think you're too old, and you're not sexy, and I'm furious that you're going to be in this, and I can't believe it. But it was like a whole thing. I was reading the trivia for this movie last night. If you want to have a good time, just go read the trivia for The Witches of Eastwick on IMDb, because it is full of some gems. There's a thing about Veronica Cartwright and Jack Nicholson where they had previously been in a relationship together and they rekindled their affair on this, but there's no confirmation whether or not he used cocaine to spice it up like he's been known to do. And I was like, what? It was nonstop shit like that.
Well, because I saw something about like Susan Sarandon has recently shaded Cher, like called her a diva. And I'm like, well, if the director was like, you're not wanted, I could see how.
Well, she basically said.
Also, what nerve saying that to fucking Cher?
He said she was past her prime. He didn't like her. Yeah.
She doesn't have, that doesn't exist with Cher.
Meanwhile, she also won an Oscar this year for Moonstruck in the same year as this movie.
Cher opened Mamma Mia 2 on her name alone. Like,
look, I don't know what to tell you. Also, the studio apparently wanted to fire George Miller, but Jack Nicholson said he would walk if they did. It was wild. Okay. Reading through this stuff, it was wild.
Wow.
No, I know. I guess she was 40 when they made this.
I looked at that's why I was like Lady Gaga's she's a little young and she's short, and Cher is just so tall. But we just know Lady Gaga can do the like huge black jersey hair,
yeah.
like the 80s hair. Yeah. And then at the end when they're like walking in and she had like the
tied up the sides thing.
Yeah. That was just so Lady Gaga to me. And then I find it fascinating considering what a beauty for the ages Michelle Pfeiffer is. And yet she's so good at Mousy.
She is really good at Mousy, but I think it's such a mistake that, I mean, she obviously, yes, is beautiful and she always has been and she will be. She's going to be like, you know, Grace Kelly or Lauren Bacall till she dies. But I think everybody overlooks how good she is at acting. She has a movie out now that people are actually saying that. They're like, it's cementing. That new one, right? Yeah.
They're like, it's cementing her status as an icon. Apparently the jury's out.
Been done. We're past that. We're so far past
You don't get past Batman.
No. It's like 30 years she's been an icon. Get away from me. No, but I definitely agree with you. I think she's great in this movie, and I also think that she just is, yes, very beautiful.
But yeah, so and then fucking Susan Sarandon. I kind of love Susan Sarandon. Well, I mean, I'm not even ashamed of that. She likes to stick her foot in it nowadays, but even that, I'm like, eh.
I love her as an actress. I would like her to be quiet about third-party voting.
Well, but at a certain point, I'm like, that's what I expect from Susan Sarandon. But sure. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the rich white lady for being out of touch. No, but her fucking makeover, her hair. Well, and also because I was like, oh, are you not going to do your hair like Bernadette or like Susan Sarandon?
Look,
and you were like,
if I could do it and then go wash my hair before the ammonium thioglycolate sets, then yes, but I don't want my hair to be that large.
You would need a wig.
I like it like this.
But no, I showed my hand because I kept wanting her to be Bernadette Peters. After the makeover, she really had that thing going. But yeah, with my fan casting, I was going like, I didn't really have set things, but I had like Kristen Bell seemed like a good Michelle Pfeiffer. And then Susan Sarandon, I wasn't entirely sure what to do. Like I said, I just kind of started throwing people in that I thought would be good, but I thought of like frankly, I think Gugu Bata Raw could be good as Susan Sarandon or Cher for that matter.
Sure.
And maybe even like a Constance Wu or something.
Oh.
That's sort of what I was.
So Constance Wu plays the Susan Sarandon character. Or sorry, Lindsay Price plays the Jesus, I can't speak my words. Jane. She plays Jane for crying out loud.
Yeah, I was just like Gugu and Constance and Kristen Bell or something.
That would be fun.
And then my fucking, Felicia and Clyde Alden, Veronica Cartwright and her husband.
It's Richard Jenkins.
Yeah, I had Malin Ackerman and Ty Burrell.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I need to talk about Veronica Cartwright.
Okay.
You don't like her, right?
I love Veronica Cartwright.
You don't. Why do you don't like her?
I love her.
But you don't like her.
Yes, I do.
We've had entire conversations about how you don't like Veronica Cartwright.
I love Veronica Cartwright. She's in Alien. She's in The Birds.
You don't.
I love her.
Okay, well, we both love Veronica Cartwright. Finn.
I mean, her character in The Birds is so sucky, but I love her. I think she's great.
Or is it her character in Alien that you don't like?
No, I like her. I mean, she's kind of like a simpering idiot, but
we're not getting out of this room
until I admit I don't like Veronica. I love Veronica Cartwright. She also, though, she gets like hardcore molested by the alien.
Yeah. I'm going to go back and listen to every single one of our episodes because we've had a conversation where you were very meh on her.
Are you? I don't think it was her. I think it must have been a character.
Okay.
I love Veronica Cartwright. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, that's fine as long as you admit you don't like her.
It's not true.
She's so funny in this movie.
Funny.
And
even before the bone marrow makes its way to her brain.
Is that a thing?
So, okay, the only other thing I've ever experienced media-wise with bone marrow is this book called A Separate Piece, where a boy falls out of a tree and breaks his leg, and the bone marrow goes into his heart and he dies immediately.
That I can.
But I didn't know it could bypass your heart and get straight to your brain.
And cause you to act weird.
Yeah. Well, if there's like fat in your brain, that's not supposed to be there. Yeah.
That's what's wrong.
Yeah. Horse! Horse!
But where's the lie?
No, I mean...
And that was the thing the whole time is I was just sort of like, I feel weird that I'm coming down on like the shrieking puritanical woman. But I was like, I mean, truth and nothing but the truth. Like
that's the thing is like, so basically what it is it's not even necessarily that the like bone marrow into her brain or whatever, but she is perhaps because of her injury and like, how it happened and when it happened, she is the only one who understands what's going on.
Sure.
She's the only one who knows he's the devil.
Well, I also figured she might have, because I mean, they're not consciously witches.
Right.
So I was like, she might have been one as well. Whatever. I mean, maybe this town was just prone to witches.
She just is such a prig, though.
Well, sure. But I
also liked her husband. I like Richard Jenkins. And
I was sad that he beat her to death?
With an andiron, yeah. Like a fire.
That actually kind of bummed me out. I was like,
well, it bums me out a little bit because it's just awful, but it also, he just is like, well, that's just enough of that. And he just goes back and reads his newspaper.
Because also fair.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, at a certain point.
He had to drag her out of church for talking about anal penetration.
Which I meant to look up. I didn't, but I meant to look up if the plural of dildos is OES. That felt weird.
Oh. No. It has to just be an S.
Yeah,
right?
well, the caption was...
Oh, did it say OES? Yeah, I'm not sure that's right.
That poor church. Again, broad daylight. There were so many things that were happening. It was very odd. Well, the cherries thing was so effective.
Is that when I heard you say Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so.
I think.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember. Well, okay. There's a whole movie to this that's like, oh, cool, I'm watching a movie. And then an end comes and you're like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but it is an end to a movie. Like, so I think
like the actual ending?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. It goes from like 4 to 10.
Oh, like that. Okay. Not the like end, but like the climax. Yeah. Okay.
Well, then like him blowing them down the hallway.
Yeah.
And they're like, not like falling, like they like hit the wall, like American Horror Story Coven style. And then Susan Sarandon is like falling off a balcony. And then he's like a giant. And it's just like, and that's the stuff, that was the stuff that was working for me. And so I like totally understand that you need to build to something like that. But it's like, I just wanted more crazy shit. Because like the cherries thing, that was so effective.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Like that's not like classic witches.
Classic devil stuff.
Yeah, but it felt right.
Yeah.
It was adequately jarring and horrific. And especially the cherry pits.
Yeah. So apparently there was a Veronica Cartwright animatronic that could like realistically like flail around and like and go back and forward and vomit and stuff, and they filmed apparently more than is in the movie, and the test audiences were so revolted that they had to cut nearly all of it. So there was one shot where I could tell that it wasn't actually Veronica Cartwright, that like something else is happening, but I was like, I can't even imagine what more of that looks like.
Yeah, well, I guess when I say more of that, I don't necessarily mean more vomit, of the specific cherry pit
vomiting. So that's another one with Clyde where I love that he just looks at her and is like, Felicia, what have you been eating?
well, again, I was sort of under the impression that there was a slight glamour happening somewhere. I don't know. Maybe. It was very vague. It did not hold your hand.
No, it definitely didn't hold your hand.
Because is he the devil?
Yes.
The devil doesn't work that way, but okay.
Well, or he could be a demon, but I just always...
I prefer that, like
just a demon.
Mephistopheles or...
Sure. You can read it however you want, for sure.
Oh my God. The swimming pool. And that fucking hideous tent that was so amazing with the chandeliers. Yeah. And what was with all the dogs? There were a lot of dogs just randomly.
I think there's only the one dog.
Well, he had a dog. There were dogs in the swimming, like not in the pool, but like around the swimming pool. Area. And there was like a bunch of scenes where dogs would just be walking in the grass. Like,
I don't know.
It didn't.
The hounds of hell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of where. That's kind of where I wrote down. I love that he was like, I've always enjoyed the word ballroom.
Yeah.
And she was like, me too. And I was like, I too have always enjoyed the word ballroom. Same. Is it dirty? You don't know.
No, who knows? What kind of balls?
Is he kidding? It's impossible to tell.
It is a very Jack Nicholson way to approach the character.
I think that's the specific notes I have. Is there other things about it that you wanted to touch on, or?
Well, you said at the beginning you were looking into John Updike's like views on women or whatever.
Well, one of the things was like when writing it, the screenwriter was very set that he was only doing like the first part of the novel.
Oh, okay. Because I specifically like Daryl has a couple of like monologues about how great women are in this movie. And then I just sort of, I don't know how much I've noticed it before, but I noticed it a lot this time where I was like, it is interesting that he is devilish or demony or whatever, but he's so much more open to them as women and their power and all of this stuff than the like church people are. Obviously, that's how it like generally goes. Well, but I like that about him.
He was like feeding off of them, though.
Kind of, but he wasn't taking away their power. He was helping them open it up until he made Michelle Pfeiffer sick. Yeah,
I kind of thought he was because there was the scene where Susan Sarandon was aging.
That was imagined. He knew she was there, and he was mad at. He did. Okay. He knew she was. Well, he knew he was doing it to her, even if he didn't know she was in the house. Mm-hmm. But he played on all three of their fears. That's why he's watching that stuff on a loop, because it's all the things that they confess to him what they're scared of. And that's why Michelle Pfeiffer is like, I don't mind dying. I don't know why there has to be pain.
And that's like, that's sort of another thing with my, like, I understand how this is what we had given it, the parameters, given its time, giving all that. But I think there's more to mine from this concept.
Yeah.
And I think another go at it could pull more out of it. Because he also, I mean, he is very complimentary towards women until he's not. Because the scene in the church was
well, so I mean
20 push-ups a day.
So like towards the middle, when Alex wakes up with the snakes and Jane sees herself aging and Michelle Pfeiffer has to go to the hospital because she just has like uncontrolled hemorrhaging somehow. Mm-hmm. He's angry at them for like leaving, and then they get back together and it's like fine and they're all better, and then he gets angry again in the church because he can tell that they're doing like shit to him. I mean, it's not an excuse. It's just, an explanation.
I just think it sort of exposed some deep-seated. I don't think the devil was all good in his feminism.
No. Of course not. Of course not. It's just an interesting. I think for 1987, that's kind of a lot of feminism.
Because this was also a hit, and that. I mean, I guess it doesn't exactly surprise me, but it also feels like one of the ones that could have bombed hard.
Well, Cher had the last laugh because no one had problems with her performance, so George Miller can suck a dick about this movie only.
Sure. That's just so weird. I can't, and I mean, of course, hindsight. Yeah. But I can't imagine being like Cher at 40. You're washed up. It's like she hasn't even had her biggest hit yet.
Her face, man.
Well, and that's the Lady Gaga thing where it's like
she's just got that lovely note. Yeah. Like profile. It's so good.
And Lady Gaga embodies like the rock star quality, even if she's not as tall. Yeah. And like
just not even a little bit as tall. Just Lady Gaga comes up to like here. Yeah.
I did find it to be a lot of fun. Yay! And I am glad that I've seen it. I don't know that it's something that I'm gonna like watch a whole bunch, but
I will.
My buddy Mike was like, when I was telling him that we were launching all this, and he was like, oh man, he was like, I forgot what he said, but he basically was like, I love like The Craft and Hocus Pocus and Witches of Eastwick. And I was like, you are in luck, buddy. And so I'm wearing my City Freakin' Prideful shirt.
Did he give you that? Yeah. Okay.
It's an Orlando.
Hi, Mike.
Orlando Pride. So, what is the score? The score?
I don't know. It's John Williams.
It's in something. I was like, I know this.
Oh,
it's repurposed somewhere.
Oh, okay. It might be repurposed, but John Williams composed it.
Yeah, because it was on the synth.
Because there was a lot of things like that at the beginning where I was like, oh God, I was like, I forgot about Richard Jenkins, and I was like, George Miller directed this, and I was like, John Williams, what are you doing here?
Oh, actually, you know what else? If not a remake, a sequel, because there's three baby boys at the...
Well, there's a... John Updike wrote a sequel called The Widows.
I saw that, but I thought a movie about three boys.
The sons, yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be potentially interesting.
And I do love the blonde, the brunette, and the redhead. Yeah. And it's one of my favorite dichotomies. It's the Hera, Aphrodite, Athena kind of thing.
Yeah. Love it.
It's up to you to decide who's who, but...
I know who's who.
Well, Cher is Hera.
Oh, then I didn't know who's who. Oh. I was putting her as Athena.
No, Cher's Hera. And then it's between, well, Susan Sarandon would be Athena and Michelle Pfeiffer with all the babies would be Aphrodite. Okay. But
that's fine, I guess.
But I do love a fiery ginger Aphrodite.
Well, so. I was thinking she would be Hera. I was thinking Susan Sarandon is Hera. Well, fine.
It's up to you.
It's up
to
to
decide
me.
Who's
it's
who.
Up to me.
So, okay. I feel good about that. So,
yay. Okay. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatching this show. You can also follow along our website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything, including the YouTube if you're watching our faces right now, and you can subscribe right over here. I've learned it now. I know where it is. And then other than that, just rate, review, and subscribe wherever else you listen. And that's it for us.
Bye.
Bye. Whores.